Imagine, for a moment, a world where the values governing societal life were completely overturned, where the desire for retribution was replaced by a willingness to forgive, where love triumphed over hate, and where compassion prevailed over selfishness. Sounds impossible? Yet, this is precisely what Jesus of Nazareth proposed in his famous Sermon on the Mount over 2,000 years ago. In a culture where retaliation and self-justice were the norms, Jesus introduced a new way, challenging both the customs of his time and our contemporary understanding of justice and behavior. The Sermon on the Mount is, at its core, an inversion of social norms. Among the many profound lessons Jesus taught, some of the most radical involve how we deal with our enemies and respond to offenses. The phrase, "turn the other cheek," is perhaps one of the best known, but also one of the most misunderstood. Jesus said, "You have heard that it was said, 'Eye for eye and tooth for tooth.' But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also." Matthew 5:38-39. The eye for an eye law was a common practice in Jewish society and many other ancient cultures. It was a principle designed to limit vengeance, ensuring that retaliation would not exceed the original offense. But Jesus went beyond this law of proportional retribution and proposed something radical. Not only renouncing vengeance, but adopting a posture of non-resistance to violence. When he speaks of offering the other cheek, he is not encouraging passivity or blind acceptance of abuse, but challenging the logic of the cycle of violence and retaliation. He proposes a form of nonviolent resistance, a way to demonstrate dignity and moral strength without perpetuating evil. Turning the other cheek is a total break from cultural expectations. It means, in essence, declaring that the violence ends here, that anger will not be met with more anger. It is a conscious choice not to retaliate in kind, but to overcome evil with good. This teaching echoes the principle of nonviolence that would later influence leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. centuries later. And Jesus doesn't stop there. In another part of the sermon, he states, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." Matthew 5:44. This is undoubtedly one of the most challenging commands for the human heart. Loving those who love us is natural and instinctive. It requires no effort. But loving enemies, those who harm us and wish us ill, goes against every fiber of our being. It is a command that seems impossible and illogical. Yet, this is precisely what Jesus asks of us. He challenges us to transcend our basic instincts of self-preservation and retaliation and to see our adversaries through a lens of compassion and mercy. Why would Jesus insist on such a counterintuitive command? The answer is simple yet profound. Because this is how God acts. He causes the sun to rise on both the good and the evil, and sends rain on both the righteous and the unrighteous. Loving enemies is not a gesture of weakness, but a testament to strength and character. It is a demonstration of the kind of love that transcends reciprocity and reflects the true essence of divine love, unconditional and all-encompassing. For many, loving enemies and praying for those who persecute us seems like a utopian ideal, something unattainable. Yet Jesus never proposed teachings that were theoretical or impractical. He knew that living this way would require sacrifice and discipline, but also understood that it was the only way to break the endless cycle of hatred and vengeance that dominates humanity. Loving enemies ultimately means recognizing that they, too, are human beings, deserving of compassion and forgiveness, and that our role is to act with a heart shaped by grace. Another challenging teaching of Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount is not judging others. He says, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." Matthew 7:1-2. This warning is profound, exposing the trap of hypocritical judgment. We are quick to point out the flaws of others while ignoring our own imperfections. Jesus illustrates this with a vivid metaphor. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? Matthew 7:3. The image is almost comical, imagining someone with a large board in their eye trying to remove a tiny speck from another's eye. This hyperbole highlights the absurdity of judging others without first reflecting on our own faults. This teaching about not judging does not mean abandoning our ability to discern right from wrong or maintain moral standards. On the contrary, Jesus invites us to practice self-reflection before pointing out others' flaws. He challenges us to cultivate empathy and compassion, to put ourselves in another's place, and to understand their struggles before criticizing them. True justice, according to Jesus, is not achieved through moral superiority, but through humility and love. The Sermon on the Mount is not just a set of moral rules. It is a revolutionary proposal for a new way of life. Jesus not only teaches the importance of forgiveness, but does so in a way that challenges expectations and common practices. Forgiving, turning the other cheek, and not judging require courage, commitment, and a new perspective on the world and the people around us. Jesus' message is clear. Responding to evil with more evil perpetuates an unending cycle. But responding to evil with goodness has the power to transform it. Loving enemies, forgiving those who hurt us, and refusing to judge hypocritically are practices that disarm violence and create spaces for healing and reconciliation. These practices challenge human nature and social norms, but offer a path leading to genuine peace and a deeper understanding of God's love. The teachings of the Sermon on the Mount are not easy to follow. They require an inner transformation, a change in how we see ourselves and the world. Living by these principles means choosing a harder path, but also a more rewarding one. It means choosing to break cycles of hatred and retaliation, and instead plant seeds of compassion, forgiveness, and unconditional love. If this reflection on the Sermon on the Mount and Jesus' teachings on love and forgiveness brought value to your life and made you rethink your actions and attitudes, please like this video. This simple gesture shows us we are moving in the right direction and motivates us to continue producing content that inspires and edifies. This is just the second video in a 4-part series where we deeply explore the transformative messages of the Sermon on the Mount. To follow the upcoming episodes, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. That way, you'll be informed whenever a new video is released and can continue your journey of learning with us. Thank you for watching and for being part of this community, seeking a deeper understanding of Jesus' teachings. See you in the next video.